Ugh, I just can't with Leos. My aunt is a Leo sun and every family gathering turns into her one-woman show. It's exhausting. Look at me, admire me, bask in my brilliance. Like, can we get a minute?
By the sun's blazing light, Ella, that's a bold claim. But beware the trap of modern stereotypes. Leo isn't just a diva in a crown. There's a whole world of ancient symbolism and dignity there.
Maybe, but it's hard to unlearn 3 years of modern astrology, and harder still to ignore personal experience. I mean, the signs are based on how people act, right?
Experience is powerful, but tradition has depth. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, aren't just personality types. They're elemental forces, expressions of divine fire. They teach us about courage, creation, and the will to live.
I don't know, Arlo. Those 3 signs always felt a little too impulsive for me. Aries is always ready to fight, Leo hogs the spotlight, and Sagittarius just vanishes mid-conversation.
Every fire needs oxygen and boundaries, but that same fire gave us warmth, invention, myth. It's the element that sparked civilization itself. That's what the fire signs really represent: raw vitality, vision, meaningful passion.
All right. You've made your dramatic entrance. I'm listening. Just don't expect me to like Leos by the end of this.
Challenge accepted. Let's see if Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius can win you over by the end. Onward to the flames. By Jupiter's mighty thunder. Welcome back, stellar students, to episode 18 of Learning Traditional Astrology. I'm your ever-fiery guide, Arlo, and I'm joined by my brilliant crew, Ella the eloquent, Clara the ever-grounded, Katrina the keen-eyed, and of course, our cosmic companion, Cherry.
Thank you, Arlo. You've got us fired up already. What's the topic today?
Today, we enter the blazing heart of the zodiac, the first triplicity. That's right, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Love them or loathe them, the fire signs are impossible to ignore.
Some of us are still on the fence about love them, but okay, I'm listening.
I'll win you over by the end. But first, Clara, give us a quick recap. What did we cover about the fire signs last time?
Of course, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius make up the fire triplicity. They're considered hot and dry in temperament, aligning with the choleric nature. That means they tend to be bold, assertive, enthusiastic, and often quite radiant in presence. They bring heat, movement, and a drive to act.
Beautifully said, Clara. Sharp as always. Now let's stoke the flames and explore each of these signs in depth. First up, the headstrong ram himself, Aries. By Aries' Golden Fleece. Let's dive into the first of our fire signs, Aries, the ram. Now, who remembers what celestial event marks the sun's entry into Aries?
That would be the spring equinox, right?
Bullseye, Clara. Or should I say, ram's charge. The spring equinox marks a return of light, when day and night are equal, and life bursts back into the world. It's the very essence of Aries. Bold, fresh, and forceful.
Okay, but what's with the ram? Is it because Aries folks are, well, headstrong?
Not a bad guess. In traditional medical astrology, Aries does rule the head, but there's myth and symbolism behind it too. Katrina, any ideas?
They do tend to leap into things head first. But I read once that the Babylonians linked Aries to an agrarian worker or shepherd figure.
Yes, they associated it with Dumuzi, a shepherd god. The ram came in later during the Hellenistic period, didn't it?
Exactly. The Egyptians saw the ram as a symbol of rebirth, fitting for the spring equinox. And yes, Katrina, the ram of the Golden Fleece fame is part of this legacy. In Greek myth, it saved Phrixus and Hel from sacrifice, carrying them across the sea. Phrixus survived, sacrificed the ram to Jupiter, and hung its golden fleece in the grove of Aries.
And that fleece had the power to restore life. Ties right into the spring and renewal symbolism.
Absolutely. Now, Ella, can you remind us which planet rules Aries?
Mars, and the sun is exalted in Aries too. Makes sense with all this rebirth energy.
By the sun's blazing light. You've nailed it. The sun gains strength here, just as the world does after winter. And Mars infuses Aries with boldness and drive.
That Mars influence explains a lot. Most Aries I've met seem like they're in a constant race, competitive and impatient.
And proud of it. Aries is a cardinal sign, which means it initiates action. But be warned, they're great at starting fires, not always keeping them burning. Think match strike, sudden, bright, but short-lived.
That does sound like my Aries cousin. On to the next thing before breakfast is over.
And symbolic, too. Aries marks the start of the zodiac, just like spring starts the year in many traditional calendars. It's the spark that lights the fire.
Shall I provide Vettius Valens' description from Anthologies?
Yes, Cherry. Let's hear what the ancients had to say.
In his work Anthologies, Vettius Valens says this about Aries natives. Aries is the house of Mars, a masculine sign, tropic, terrestrial, governing, fiery, free, upward trending, semi-vocal, noble, changeable, procuratorial, public, civic, with few offspring, servile, the midheaven of the universe and the cause of rank, two-toned. It is also unaspected and ecliptic. Depending on its relationship with the house ruler, men born under this sign will be brilliant, distinguished, authoritarian, just, hard on offenders, free, governing, bold in thought, boastful, great-hearted, restless, unstable, haughty, inflated, intimidating, quickly changing, wealthy. When the house rulers are favorably situated and have benefics in aspect, kings and powerful men are born, those having the say over life and death.
That's a heavy dose of Mars. You can really see how the malefic influence shapes the traits. Courage, sure, but also volatility.
Maybe I wasn't completely wrong about fire signs after all.
Hold that spark, Ella. We're not done yet. Let's not leap like an Aries into judgment. We've still got Leo. And trust me, there's plenty more fire to explore. By Leo's blazing mane, we now arrive at the second sign in the fire triplicity, Leo, the lion.
Finally, a sign I know a lot about. Some might say too much. Ruled by the sun, right?
A stellar start, Ella. Yes, Leo is the diurnal domicile of the sun. The king of the sky finds its throne at the peak of summer, when the light rules and everything basks in golden glory.
It fits. The lion is literally the king of beasts, and its mane, like rays of the sun.
And don't forget the flair for drama. Leo rules the heart, doesn't it?
Indeed, the heart, the noble engine of courage and passion. Leo energy comes from the center and radiates outward. There's nothing subtle about it.
The constellation of Leo goes back pretty far, right? I read that it was one of the earliest recognized star patterns.
By Leo's shining mane. You're absolutely right. Traced back to at least 4000 BC. It was honored in India, Persia, and Syria. Though interestingly, the Babylonians may have seen it as a great dog or Humbaba, guardian of the divine forest.
But the Greeks went with the Nemean lion, didn't they?
Yes, the myth goes that Hercules had to slay this invincible lion for his first labor. He succeeded and wore the hide as a symbol of power. That hide became a symbol of supernatural strength, courage, and nobility, classic Leo traits.
So all that bravery and stubborn pride might not be just stereotype?
Not entirely. Leos are fixed fire that gives them stamina and intensity. Clara, you remember the mode?
Fixed, definitely not the most flexible type.
Exactly. Think of a bonfire that holds its shape, bright and persistent, but resistant to change. That's Leo. Proud, centered, and sometimes, yes, immovable.
Speaking of proud, what about the infamous Leo vanity? All that center of the universe energy?
Ah, the golden shadow of the sun. That need to be seen, admired, adored. It comes from Leo's connection to rulership. Remember, the sun was linked to kingship, to divine right. Leo expresses that impulse through charisma and creative presence.
That explains why so many performers and leaders have Leo placements. They draw people in, command attention, even if they don't always ask for it.
True, but the flip side of grandeur is vulnerability. Leo's pride can be fragile. When recognition isn't given, they can feel slighted or invisible. It's the risk of burning too brightly.
Would you like me to share Vettius Valens' commentary on Leo natives?
Please do, Cherry.
Leo is masculine, the house of the sun, free, fiery, temperate, intellectual, kingly, stable, noble, upward trending, changeable, solid, governing, civic, imperious, irascible. Men born under this sign are distinguished, noble, steady, just, haters of evil, independent, haters of flattery, beneficent, inflated with their lofty thoughts. If the house ruler is at an angle or in an aspect with benefics, then brilliant, glorious individuals are born, tyrants and kings.
There's that commanding energy again. Leadership seems baked into Leo, whether it's earned or imposed.
Exactly. But remember, fire must be controlled. A steady flame gives light and warmth, an uncontrolled one scorches and consumes.
All right, Leo's had enough time in the spotlight. Can we move on before it starts asking for applause?
As you wish, Ella. Time to aim higher. Our final fire sign awaits. Sagittarius, the Archer. By the Archer's fiery arrow, we've arrived at the final sign of the Fire Triplicity, Sagittarius, the Archer.
So this is the part of the year where the sun starts dipping low, just before winter sets in.
Exactly right. As the sun enters Sagittarius, we find ourselves at the twilight of autumn, right before the winter solstice. It's that in-between space where fire burns toward its last flare.
So that makes Sagittarius mutable, right? Kind of like the sign that bridges the seasons?
Bullseye, Ella. Mutable signs represent transition and flexibility. Sagittarius especially. Some even say it's the one who looses the arrow that signals the sun's descent into winter.
But what's with the symbolism? I always thought Sagittarius was the centaur. What's the link to the archer?
Ah, the centaur. Yes, half man, half horse. In Greek myth, centaurs were wild, but often brilliant. Think of Chiron, the wise healer and mentor to heroes. But interestingly, Chiron was originally linked to a different constellation, Centaurus. The actual archer of Sagittarius might be Crotus, the son of Pan and nurse to the Muses.
Crotus? The one who invented applause, right?
By Jupiter's mighty thunder, someone's been doing her homework. And even earlier than the Greeks, the Babylonians linked this region of the sky to Nergal, a warlike archer god. So Sagittarius has roots in both savagery and skill.
That's a pretty wide spectrum, but it makes sense, given that Jupiter rules the sign, right?
Exactly. Jupiter brings expansion, abundance, and noble ideals. That's why Sagittarius gets associated with freedom, knowledge, and open roads, whether physical or philosophical.
So that love for big ideas and open fields, that's classic Jupiterian fire.
Well said. If Aries is the spark and Leo the steady flame, Sagittarius is the wildfire, roving, spreading, clearing old growth for new ideas. It's fire with vision.
And it's not focused on details. It's about the whole terrain. Isn't Mercury in detriment here?
Yes, precisely. Mercury prefers facts and fine print, while Sagittarius shoots for the horizon. A Mercury and Sagittarius native often speaks in sweeping declarations, not careful footnotes.
So it's less scribe, more storyteller. Aiming for truth, not always precision.
In other words, blunt. I've definitely seen that play out.
Indeed, Sagittarius can be direct, but it's driven by sincerity, not cruelty. It wants the truth, but served hot and fast, not slow and subtle.
And what body part does Sagittarius rule in medical astrology?
The hips and thighs, the engines of forward motion, perfect for galloping toward new adventures. Cherry, give us a reading from Valens on Sagittarius.
Sagittarius is the house of Jupiter, masculine, fiery, upward trending, vocal, moist because of the constellation Argo, noble, winged, changeable, bicorporeal, two-natured, mysterious, with few offspring, half-finished, governing, kingly. Men born under this sign are noble, just, great-hearted, judges, generous, loving their brothers and their friends. They lose much of their original possessions but gain them back. They are superior to their enemies, seek a noble reputation, are benefactors, prominent, and act mysteriously.
Generous, noble, philosophical, very Jupiter, and mysterious in action is an interesting touch.
Okay, I'll admit it. Traditional astrology is opening up new angles on these signs I thought I had pegged.
That's the spirit. The fire signs aren't just loud, they're luminous. Each burns in its own way. Now, ready to put it all together?
Time for a summary?
You got it. Let's wrap up everything we've learned about the Fire Triplicity. By Mars' gleaming shield. What a blazing tour that was. Time to wrap up with a summary. Katrina, let's start with Aries, our zodiac trailblazer.
Gladly. Aries is a masculine, diurnal, and cardinal sign in the fire triplicity. It's choleric in temperament and rules the head and face. Mars claims this sign as its diurnal house. Aries brings a bold, impulsive energy, action-oriented and always striving to be first. But with that drive comes a lack of tact and patience. Mars gives Aries its fierce fighting spirit. Planets in Aries act quickly, often with courage but sometimes recklessly. Saturn here might signal ambition tangled with delays or frustration.
Excellent, Katrina. And yes, Aries' rulership of the head makes it prone to migraines, headaches, even sudden outbursts like apoplexies. Clara, over to you. Let's hear about the mighty lion.
Leo is a masculine, diurnal, and fixed fire sign. It's also choleric, and it's the only sign ruled by the sun. Leos are proud, warm, and loyal, with a touch of grandeur. They like being seen, and they tend to lead from the heart. Quite literally, Leo rules the heart, ribs, and upper back. Planets in Leo crave recognition. They shine confidently, sometimes dramatically. Mars in Leo? That's someone who defends their pride, bravely and visibly.
By the brilliance of the sun. Well said, Clara. And now, Ella, take us across open terrain, Sagittarius.
Happily, Sagittarius is masculine, diurnal, mutable, and choleric, another fire sign, but with a different rhythm. It's the diurnal home of Jupiter. This is a sign of exploration, philosophical, forward-looking, generous, and yes, a little clumsy. Planets in Sagittarius tend to be joyful, optimistic, and expressive, though sometimes careless or exaggerated. It rules the thighs and buttocks, fitting for a sign that loves to roam.
Well said, Ella. Sagittarius truly is the wildfire of the zodiac, spreading big ideas and noble dreams. And that, dear sky watchers, concludes our fiery journey through Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. But we're far from done. In our next episode, we'll catch the breeze and sail into the intellectual, humane air signs.
Looking forward to it already.
If you've been enjoying this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.
Until then, keep your eyes on the stars.
Bye.
Transmission complete. Logging off.